For those of us who do not live in a haunted town, we should be grateful. We don't have to worry about the cursed, screaming palm tree. Good evening. This is Clinton Manning, and you're watching Tales by Firelight. So when I was younger, I spent some time in Brazil. I visited there, and I met a lot of people. Had a great time. Love that place. One thing I really enjoy is there's all kinds of spooky stories. Everyone has a story to tell. I was in a little town called Londrina, and I met this guy who, I just met him in the front yard. We were playing soccer. Love playing football. And so, as we hung out and got to know each other, pretty soon I asked him if he knew any scary stories. So he told me that in the town that he grew up, there was a big valley, and in the center of this valley there was a hill. And this hill had a palm tree that grew right at the top, right in the middle. Nothing else would grow. And as you left the hill, slowly the grass would begin to grow, and there would be vegetation. Everything else was dead. And it was said that if you walked towards this hill, the closer you got, the sicker you felt. And if you actually took a footstep and walked onto the hill, that you would die. I heard this and I was like, okay, what? So he told me that the town nearby, they got used to it. They had adapted this way of life. And in modern times, you would hear nothing all day. You got the cars, and you got the honking, and you got the people walking around, and you're busy, and you got your music and your internet and your TV, and you can hear the sound. Did I forget to mention the sound? So this palm tree had a pulsating sound that it would make that sounded like a grown man screaming, like screaming for his life. And the sound was constant. It was like a man screaming without ever needing to take a breath. Of course, the further you got away from the hill, the more distant the sound was. So this town nearby, there's just a faint sound, a still, small sound. And you could hear it if everything was quiet. So at nighttime, when you just have the night walkers out, that's when you can hear the sound. And people that are from this place, they're used to it. They don't even hear it anymore. But if they are at night and they do hear the sound, they ignore it. They pretend like there is no sound. They do not acknowledge it, and they definitely don't disrespect it. So there's a tale of a man who reinforced the existence of the screaming palm tree. So they were having a get together, and it was an entire family. It was like a family reunion, and they were having an amazing Brazilian barbecue, churrasco, and it lasted all day long. There was music, you have the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, all the kids, and it was a great thing. Of course, there was the grumpy uncle who was sitting on the porch pretty much the entire time. He'd been drinking. He only came in for the food. He was out sitting on a rocking chair, reflecting his life. Too many regrets. Too many things that disappoint him. So he was a grump. Soon the family reunion was over, and everyone was saying their goodbyes. And as they passed through the door, the little kids were coming to give their uncle, the grumpy uncle, a hug. He was drunk, and he was acting a fool, and he was talking loud, and everyone was, his sisters were telling him to be quiet. Shh. And he didn't like that they were shushing him, so he started getting upset and stood up and started yelling. And then he noticed that he could hear the screaming palm tree. So he listened to it, and he started yelling at it. And he was like, "Shut up! We are tired of hearing you!" And he said a bunch of other disrespectful things. All the adults and the older children were terrified that he was doing this. They all looked at him. People started to scurry, going into their cars, getting on their bikes. They were leaving. One of his sisters was brave enough to tell him to stop. "What are you trying to do? What are you trying to invite to our home?" And he's like, "Be quiet." And soon, he was alone. So he sat back down in his rocking chair after everyone had left. And he had two thoughts. I'm fine. This is not real. And, oh crap. What have I done? Well, nothing happened at first. And pretty soon he started falling asleep. And he was sitting in his rocking chair and he was relaxing. It was a nice warm evening. He was starting to pass out. But then he woke up startled. And he had this feeling like something was wrong. Like when you wake up from a nightmare and you feel like there's something in the room. And he looked into the forest that was just across from the porch that he was sitting on. And he could see what looked like a torch. Like someone walking through the forest with a torch. And he looked at it, and immediately he felt this terrified feeling. And the torch started moving towards him. And as it came out of the forest, he could see that there was no one holding the torch. It was like a ball of fire, and it was moving slowly towards him. So he remembered comforting feelings from his youth, his Catholic upbringing, and so he started uttering whatever prayer he could remember. And as he did that, the ball came really quick. It's almost like that sparked something, and it came really close to him. After he uttered the prayer, the ball of fire dashed towards him. And as he saw it coming towards him quickly, he stood up and started to run. And he started running down this old dirt road in the dark, and he was running as fast as he could. And he could see his shadow in front of him, because behind him was an orange glow coming from the ball of light, and it was really close to him. And he was running as fast as he could. He began to feel intense heat, and the ball of flame was scorching his back. It was burning him. And just then he tripped and fell into a hole. It was a really big hole. It was like 10 feet wide and a good amount of depth where he couldn't get out easily. He looked straight up and he could see the ball of fire right above him. So he backed up against the wall of this hole, and the ball, it was a raging ball of fire lowered right in front of him. And as he looked at it, he saw the most hideous face you've ever seen. This man lived out the rest of his days in the local insane asylum. When they recovered his body, he was unconscious. So they took him to the hospital. He had burns on his back, and his face and neck had what looked like severe sunburns. After a few days, he woke up, and he told the story to his family, and was committed immediately. For those of us who do not live in a haunted town, we should be grateful. We don't have to worry about the cursed, screaming palm tree. Hey everyone, thank you for watching Tales by Firelight. For all of you with a sense of wonder and a love for life's little mysteries, these videos are for you. So please comment and let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Goodbye!